So I just came off of trying some new chips right before we hopped on this call.
Illegal
There was
ones.
illegal chips. That was the marketing name for them at least. There's a company online called Mischief. I don't know if you've heard of them before.
Mm-mm.
I don't really have much context for what they are either. They're like I don't know. They do like specialty product runs where they'll make some limited edition product for a couple months and sell it, and they'll never make that thing again, and they'll partner with some other group of people to make some new limited edition thing and sell that for a while.
Oh, novel.
Yeah. And they did something recently, illegal chips, and they're chips flavored after things that are either illegal to eat or prepare or things like that. And I just did a taste test with a friend on all of them. And so what I've got here, and they're sitting in front of me now, I've got horse meat flavored chips.
Is that illegal? What's wrong with horse meat?
I mean, depending on the country you're in, like the US, I think it might be illegal.
Okay.
Is that a common meat in Australia?
I wouldn't say it was common. I actually have no idea if it's illegal or not, so that's probably tending towards illegal then.
There's something called Casu Marzu, which is apparently a cheese is like aged to the point of maggots growing in it. And that is
Disgusting.
a delicacy in some country, but apparently illegal in most. And then the last chip flavor is called fugu, that poison blowfish that if it's prepared wrong, you die eating it.
Ah, right. Nice.
So, so I didn't know what to expect when I ordered all of them.
No, you wouldn't, would you?
I was really hoping that it was either going to go one of two directions. It's either going to be really, really gross, in which case it's an experience, and that's fun. Or it was going to be really good and like eye-opening and enlightening, and like, oh man, I wouldn't have expected horse chips to be good. But they ended up being right down the middle, where it's like, oh, these just taste like bad potato chips.
Oh, no. That's the worst.
Yeah. So I was a little disappointed with those. I was hoping to have a little bit more to bring to the show. That's why I ate them right before hopping on the call with you, so that I could talk about them.
So if you suddenly drop off mic at one point, we'll know that they actually used the bad part of the jellyfish to flavor the chip.
Well, apparently, one of the parts of the experience of eating the fugu blowfish is that some of the residual poison is left in the meat, so it kind of makes your mouth tingle a bit when you're eating it.
Ah. That fishy high.
And those, right. And the chips were supposed to recreate that feeling somehow, but I did not experience that.
I mean, how would you do it? A bit of chili or pepper or something like that, probably.
Yeah. But anyway, a little underwhelming. But wasn't a bad experience for, I think it was only $12 for all three of them, so.
That's 3 entire packets of chips, right? Not 3 individual chips?
Yeah, 3. It was actually 4 packs of chips, but 3 flavors, and they just sent me 2 of one.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you had to combine 2 things to make one of the flavors. Like to make the horse meat.
No.
You had to combine glue and... I don't know what the other thing would be. Horse.
Nope. I've got an extra pack of maggot cheese chips that I can do something with. Maybe it'll be a Christmas gift for my brother or something.
Oh man, these are the perfect novelty Christmas gifts. I'm going to see if they're available here because I've never heard of them. I don't know if anyone else has. So I'm going to blow people's minds. What did you say the name was again?
It's Mischief is the company, but they spell it MSCHF. It looks like if you just Google illegal chips, there's still some showing up here. Oh, actually, you can go to illegalchips.com.
Yeah, gotcha.
It looks like they're still for sale.
Yeah, getting them to Australia now though could be questionable. I mean, it's very late November. I'll have a go. I'll have a look after the show.
All right. They got a little more explanation on the flavors here. It says horse meat's been banned since 1847. I assume they're talking about in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
It says fugu is so deadly it's illegal to serve without a license.
Mm-hmm.
And Casu Marzu, the maggot cheese, is illegal everywhere. I don't know what that means, but
Everywhere. Everywhere in the US? Surely not.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I wouldn't recommend getting it for yourself because they're pretty underwhelming, but they would make great novelty gifts.
This website is particularly hard to navigate. There's like you get to like the splash screen kind of, or you think it's the splash screen because there's a border at the bottom, so it doesn't look like you can scroll. But then eventually you realize the only thing you can do is scroll, and
There's just a buy button on the screen. That's all you need to know.
That one's just for the box though, and the box is sold out, so I've already passed that point. And then if you scroll down, it gives you 3 flavors, but like you can't click on them anywhere except this I button, but that's just the descriptions you gave me. I had.
Oh, so you go to the Wii website, saywee.com. Did you make it there?
No, I haven't made it that far. I haven't made it off illegal chips.
Okay, there we go. They're $4 a bag on this website. Or you can get a 6-pack for $24.
Oh,
I'll send you
popular search,
the link in
illegal
Discord.
chips Australia. Top result, Australia has started microchipping people. Good job, Google. Thanks for that.
Is that in the vaccines?
This is actually from 2016, so
Oh, okay. You guys got a head start on microchipping people.
old news. Did you know that...
You got your 5G a long time ago.
Way ahead of the curve. Did you know that Bill Gates genuinely has his chips in 85% of Americans' bodies? Not even
His
joking.
chips?
His chips.
How's that?
Because he owns most of the potato farms that sell potatoes to McDonald's.
Does he really?
Yep. And then you're eating the chips, or as some people might call them, fries, but for this joke, we'll call them chips. And yeah, you're eating them.
Should I have been saying I've been eating illegal crisps to you, James?
No. So in the UK, that would make sense. You've got crisps. I could be getting this wrong. Crisps in the UK, I think, for like the crunchy ones, and chips for the soft, hot ones. The hot ones. Let's go with that.
Okay.
But we have this fantastic situation in Australia where we both call them both just chips. So, yeah.
Okay.
And
So
if you need to clarify, then you need to add some other word to that, like a modifier. Hot chips, or I'm not even sure what it would say for crisp chips. You might just say like
you
a
said
bag
hot
of chips.
I would assume like spicy.
Oh, right. No, just...
Like a hot chip in the US is like a very spicy potato chip.
Maybe we should have gone with warm chips then. It's not quite as appetizing, is it?
Are they cookies or biscuits in Australia?
Is what? Cookies.
Are cookies called cookies or biscuits in Australia?
You get away with both, but traditionally it would be biscuits.
Okay. Wow.
I know
So
from my trip to, where was it? Tulsa, or Tulsa, however you say it, that biscuits are actually scones. They're quite different from a cookie. Hopefully that sentence didn't get lost in translation.
scones?
Like we had, I think I remember this right. We had biscuits for breakfast, and they're like this big puffy bread things, which I would call a scone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'd call that a scone.
Scone.
Okay.
So what's a biscuit to you?
A biscuit to me is like, I don't know. What do you call? I don't even know how to phrase this. What do you call a savory biscuit?
I don't think it
Is
exists.
that
All
even a
biscuits are sweet.
Interesting. So if you had, I think this is just a Southern U.S. thing, like biscuits and gravy. Is that even a breakfast that you're aware of, or?
It sounds disgusting. It sounds like you'll be having like chopped choc chip cookies and then pouring gravy on them.
So yeah, I think that doubly doesn't work because there's two kinds of gravy in the U.S. There's like the brown traditional stock based gravy that you'd be thinking of, and then we have like a white flour based gravy, usually with like some sausage in it.
Oh yeah, okay, I'm with you.
So yeah, and you take that and you put it on biscuits, which are like savory, flaky bread. It's not very sweet.
Wait, so that
Like-
not even a scone. This
No, not
savory.
a scone, because a scone it would be too sweet.
Okay. But you can have savory scones and sweet scones. I guess
Okay.
a savory scone might classify itself as a biscuit then in your neck of the woods.
I'm like, do you have? Are Pillsbury? Is Pillsbury a company that makes food in Australia?
Pillsbury's a brand I know from a movie, or from
Okay.
movies plural.
All right, yeah. If you Google like Pillsbury biscuits, you'll get lots of pictures of what an American biscuit would look like.
Okay. Yeah, basically a scone for an Australian. Although it's slightly different. It seems to have layers on it.
It's very flaky, and it's not sweet at all, like we would consider a scone to be.
A
You just don't have that at all, huh?
No, I don't think so. A Pillsbury Grand. Oh, wait, no, they're all called Grands? Southern Home Style. There we go. A Pillsbury Southern Home Style biscuit looks very much like an Australian scone.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Nope, never seen layers in a biscuit or a scone.
We like our flour a lot in America. That's why our breakfast is made of biscuits, which is the dry flour, and then you have our gravy, which is just wet flour we put on top of the dry flour. And that's our breakfast.
That's great.
Yep.
But who doesn't love flour? Flour's in everything that's good.
That's right. Apparently biscuits are the one thing that Americans don't make sweeter before they eat.
Huh, okay. The one thing.
That just seems to be what I've heard other people who have visited the U.S. complain about, is like they say that even our bread is much sweeter than they're used to.
Huh, okay, there you go. The first thing I thought of was like a roast meat, but I guess you add cranberry sauce and that's kind of sweet to it, or jam, or that's all sugary.
Yeah. Barbecue sauce, that's to be the American thing to do.
Like any sauce is like 50% sugar, so
That's right.
yeah, anything you add sauce to is instantly classified as getting sweeter. There was an amazing show I watched once, possibly a movie, where instead of they gave examples of meals, and instead of putting the sauce on, they just poured the equivalent amount of sugar onto the dish. It was insane. You just be
That'd
pouring
probably be
like,
pretty gross.
yeah, like half a cup of sugar, just pouring it on a salad, because that's how much would have been in the ranch dressing, for instance.
In what, a whole bottle of ranch dressing?
No, in the amount that you would put on your salad.
There'd be half a cup of sugar?
Oh, look, I watched it like 5 years ago, so
Okay.
it was that level
like, oh,
of craziness,
Yeah.
though.
Damn.
There was definitely some meal where half a cup was the amount that was put on there.
It is amazing how much you can dissolve into a liquid like that. Like if you take just a can of a soda and you put a pile of sugar next to it, it's like the equivalent. It's going to be like more sugar than looks like it can fit in the can.
I learned the other week that fruit boxes are just about the same. Like there's less liquid in a fruit box, but the same amount of sugar as a can of Coke from some brands.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
Because kids suck those down in no time as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a little misleading. That's why you got to go with, well, I don't know what you do for kids drinks. They need to make diet kids drinks that use like aspartame or whatever instead of sugar.
I'm pretty happy just to give them water.
There you go. Boring choice.
Yeah. Look, to spice things up every now and then, I give them a glass of milk.
Ooh. Adventurous.
We're pretty light on topics.
It's that time of year where not much is going to be happening
Yeah.
between now and next year.
I guess the biggest thing that happened is, since we last spoke, is the self-service repair program or announcement. It's hardly a program yet.
Yeah. I mean, not much has actually started happening yet, but just for like complete out of the blue surprise, that's definitely a big deal.
Yeah. Should we kick off with that then?
Sure.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So about 10 days ago, Apple put out a news briefing and announced a self-service repair program. Apple parts, tools, and manuals for the iPhones 12 and 13 available to individual consumers. And this will also apply to Macs with M1 chips. So a bit of crazy news for the fortnight, because I don't think anyone would have seen this happening, except maybe the group of shareholders that had lodged something with the SEC to make it happen.
Right. Yeah, this I don't even know where to start. It's so unlike Apple to do something like this, and even to get into the business of selling their own parts individually is not at all what I would have anticipated from them, and especially on top of everything else they've been battling recently. Maybe it's because of all this, between antitrust stuff with Epic and app stores, and across, it seems like countries all across the world right now are doubling down on Apple with their app store stuff. So maybe they're finally trying to get ahead of a similar situation with their iPhone repairs.
Yeah, they copped a huge fine in Italy, I think, recently over antitrust stuff.
Mm-hmm. And there's some South Korean ruling that's come down recently that seems like they're being accused of not complying with enough in terms of allowing outside payments. So I'm not positive how valuable this is going to be.
To whom?
I think, well, to the common Apple user, I suppose. I think most people who own an iPhone or a Mac aren't going to want to order pieces from Apple themselves to fix it, because they certainly, probably the average person's not going to be skilled enough to get in there and replace components without potentially damaging something. So it seems like there's going to be a very small niche of people that this is valuable to. And this program is explicitly sending parts to individual people. It's not like this is a program where a small repair booth at the mall could order a bunch of replacement parts. So I think for the majority of people, this program is not for them, and they may end up actually just breaking their devices if they try to go this route.
I wonder what will happen in that scenario when you've broken your device. Do you have the option then to take it into Apple and have a proper repair done? Because traditionally, if you opened up the phone yourself and you take it into Apple, they're not going to do any in-warranty repairs for you.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they'll still be happy to fix it, but I don't know if that warranty is going to apply anymore.
And what if you made a successful repair? The warranty has to apply still. Like, what if you dropped your iPhone? That was spelled out somewhere here. It was? Okay.
Yeah, that a successful repair of your phone is still under warranty.
That's such a grey area, though. What if you replace the screen and you do a workable job of it, and then suddenly you drop it in some water and you missed like a couple of mils of the seal and water suddenly in there.
Right.
The phone that you thought was waterproof isn't, because of your repair, sanctioned by Apple. Whose problem is that? You'd have to say the consumer's, the end user's problem and fault. But it'd be an annoying situation for you.
iPhones are already explicitly not waterproof, and even a brand new iPhone that you drop in water and stops working isn't covered under warranty. Like they exclude water damage from their warranty items. So whether you repaired it yourself or not, that wouldn't be covered.
But when you buy it, you are under the impression that it's waterproof, or at least highly water resistant. I wouldn't be too worried if I dropped my phone into the sink and pulled it out. I think it would be fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've gone swimming with my iPhone.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like on vacation with my daughter earlier this year, when we were at the hotel and changed into our bathing suits up in the room, I just stuck my iPhone in my pocket, and I didn't want to leave it sitting on the table while we were in the pool, so I just left it in my swim trunks pocket while we were swimming.
And it was completely in the water the whole time, or were you just standing like ankle deep?
No, it was underwater the whole time, and it was just fine.
Wow, you're pretty game. I don't know, I wouldn't have thought you'd do that.
I've got Apple Care Plus. I'm not that worried.
Were you still shitting yourself the whole time? Like checking it every 5 minutes? Is it on? Is it on?
No, I'm pretty carefree with my iPhones in the water. Ever since the 7 started with its water resistance, I've I usually set my phones in the shower with me and don't worry about whether they get splashed or I'm trying to use it under the shower head or anything else. So for years, I haven't had an issue with that. Yeah, I guess I probably should have been more worried about it because my iPhone was also my room key. So if it stopped working, I would have had a lot of issues.
There's always the reception desk to get a new key.
Yeah, but I'd still be many hours from home without any phone or anything, so probably not ideal.
Ah, right, okay.
But either way, it worked out fine, and I've just grown enough trust in my iPhones over the years to know that that was going to be fine.
You have completely reset my expectations on phone waterproofness because I might have done it with like a 12 or a 13, but before that, oh, no way. I still treated the phone like it was not waterproof.
You have not been watching all these water tests that people have been putting the iPhones through for the last 5 years or so.
I don't think even with those, that would make me comfortable. I needed this firsthand.
Yeah, there's people leaving their phones in the bottom of a river for a week and pulling it out, and it's fine. Like, I'm not worried about an hour in a swimming pool. So
I have treated my Apple Watches as entirely waterproof ever since the Series 0, though. I mean, I took that diving and surfing and all that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I know. And people didn't really vouch for the Series 0's water resistance, but I think I've told this.
Until Series 3 they advertised it as waterproof.
Yeah,
swim
right.
watch.
I know I've told you this before, but I did some cliff jumping with the Series 0. It was like a 10-meter cliff, so it wasn't a small one. And I hit the water, and the force of the impact just ripped the watch off my wrist.
Right.
And it went down like 5 meters, I think, just based on how much my ears hurt when I got to the bottom to grab it off the floor of the river. And it was totally fine after that little dive.
Well, they've definitely always undersold the water resistance of all their products. Because even like the 6S was surprisingly water resistant, and it was never advertised that way.
Okay.
So, because there's people doing depth testing of those, and I think iFixit found they're tearing it apart. Like, it had all the gaskets that the 7 had. I think the 6S was the first year they started adding those. But I don't know if they just didn't get it certified or what. But it was also very resistant.
It could have been like an experiment to see how much these gaskets reduced the returns because of water ingress.
Right. Which more or less makes the 6S the only iPhone with a headphone jack that was water resistant.
Ah, okay. Bit of a unicorn. But back to the self-service repair then. If you do the repair yourself on a screen, would you expect it to still be waterproof? Say if you did a good job of it. I would say yes. If you followed the manual correctly and fitted all the parts correctly, you'd have to expect to have the same level of waterproofness as out of the factory.
Yeah, if everything was done correctly, it should still be water resistant, but I would never trust my own handiwork enough to like take it back in the pool again after that.
Okay.
So, but I probably wouldn't be even someone who has repaired a lot of iPhones in the past and could technically do it. I'd still rather just send it in and have Apple do it.
It's unusual.
Otherwise, what am I paying for?
Sorry, what was that?
I said, otherwise, what am I paying for with my Apple Care Plus?
Ah, yeah, of course, when you've got Apple Care Plus.
Right.
So, this is not a program for independent repair shops. They can't send in their application and get 100 screens to last them the next 6 months of people bringing in their iPhones, which is a little disappointing because the independent repair shops, in my experience, do not use Apple genuine parts. They use like whatever equivalent they can find for the cheapest price.
Right.
If this had applied to those independent repair shops as well, I think it would have benefited people with iPhones to a much larger degree. Because then no matter where they went, it was possible, maybe probable, depending on pricing, that they would still end up with like an authorized repair.
Well, the cynic would say that's the whole point, is that they've done what sounds like a lot, but actually isn't going to improve very many people's lives.
Okay.
But yeah, this isn't a new issue because Apple had a program that launched a couple years ago similar to this, but targeted towards independent repair shops for them to be able to request parts. And when it was first announced, it was lauded as like this big step forward for Apple and a big achievement for repairability and right to repair. But when it actually went into practice, people quickly realized that it wasn't practical because it still didn't allow independent repair shops to request pieces ahead of time. They had to get the device they were repairing and then send the serial number of that device to Apple, and then Apple would send them the part. So instead of them being able to fix a device, within an hour when it was brought in, they had to request a piece, wait a week for it to get delivered, and then they could fix your phone.
Yeah, totally against expectations. When I go to the shopping center and I give my broken phone to the little shop in the middle of the strip, you kind of expect to complete your grocery shopping and then pick up your repaired phone in that amount of time. And I think that's everyone's expectations. So, yeah, bit of a runaround then. I wonder if that's to combat like the resale of parts. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense.
It seems like that wouldn't really make a lot of sense, yeah, because in order for anyone for that to make sense, reselling it, they have to sell it for more than they got it for. And then why would anyone buy them from someone else if they can get it from Apple for cheaper? So,
well, before this program, it wasn't possible, so that could have been the case. But
yeah,
maybe this program launches and then they revise what the independent repair provider can do. I know it's a pretty optimistic take on it, though.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this is just them doing whatever minimum they think they have to do to keep any actual regulations breathing down their necks and say that they do support right to repair, but still make it kind of difficult to go any route other than taking your phone into an Apple store. Because, yeah, like I said, this doesn't really solve the problem for the majority of people that aren't tech enthusiasts with like whatever tools they need or skills they have to pull out tiny ribbon cables and
well, the tools won't be the problem because they'll come with the kit.
Yeah, to be determined what Apple actually sends you with your repair kit.
Well, they do say Apple genuine parts and tools.
Right.
So you hope the tools would cover everything that you needed to do.
I don't know how Apple actually does screen replacements. Like I know in the past when I've done screen replacements with parts from iFixit, they send you like this little hot pad you put in the microwave and then you set that on top of your phone to loosen the adhesive. I don't know if Apple uses a similar tool for removing screens or if they have like just a warming device they put the phone in or how that works or what their solutions are going to be for sending out to customers.
I was picturing an Apple branded hairdryer, but I think just for economy of shipping, heat pads would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, probably. They do also have a nice aspect of the program here where once you've replaced your broken components, you can send the broken parts back to Apple for a bit of a credit towards the pieces you had to purchase.
I wonder what that is in aid of.
I mean, they claim it's for recycling purposes.
Cynical me thinks it's something else. Maybe
so there's not Apple genuine parts floating around?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, to be determined. We'll see what happens when this program actually launches and some people have tried it out. But definitely not what I expected from them.
Well, I will certainly be one of the first ones to try it out if the iPhone 12 back glass is included in the repair options because Yasmin's 12 mini still has that broken back. Never got it fixed.
That's right.
Yeah, so we'll see.
I don't know if that's... Well, good luck for you, but I don't know if that's going to be included or not. I think it was just screens, right?
Well, the list was screens, batteries, camera, and... what are the wording? And other most commonly serviced modules.
Okay.
When I look at the classifieds, the back glass of the 12 and 13 are extremely commonly broken modules. So I'd be really disappointed if that wasn't included on the list. Now, I've never looked at actually doing this myself, so I don't know how involved that repair process is, and that might determine whether it's part of the program.
Right.
But I'm crossing my fingers and hoping for the best here.
As long as it's not like the like the iPhone 4S was, where to replace the screen, you had to take the back off and then take every component out before the screen could come off.
The very last thing. Yeah.
That was the nightmare to fix.
That was a nightmare. When you got to the screen, it looked like the iPhone had exploded on the desk. That's how many screws and things there were.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone ever put it back together and didn't have a loose screw as well.
I was about to say that I always had an extra screw or two by the time I was done.
Always. It was inevitable. I think it actually spawned screws as you went through the process.
It's like this frame doesn't actually need 7 screws to hold it together. We can get by with 5.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Are there any other facets to this program that we missed? Might have a quick look at the comments and
Give it a squiz.
give it a squiz. Let's see. A lot of cynics in the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a lot of people in disbelief.
I don't know if we explicitly said it yet, but price hasn't been announced for anything. So it could be obscenely expensive for these parts.
Mm-hmm. But they can't charge more than they actually do in-house. So at least we've got that as a ceiling on the price.
Right. But I assume it'd be the in-house out-of-warranty price, which is fairly high.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, it's not low. We didn't actually... no, we did mention, but didn't really go into the whole lobbying... Was that a lobbying group? No, a group of shareholders who brought this case to the SEC about the right to repair. And the deadline for Apple's response was 2 or 3 days after they made this announcement. So the timing of that was
Yeah.
very suspect.
A little on the nose there.
Mm.
I'm surprised this is the route they went, though, because as far as right to repair goes, I don't feel like Apple was ever under any obligation to have to become a wholesale distributor of the components for their devices. So I feel like there could have been other routes they went besides we're going to individually sell screens. So I'm just surprised they took the step to go this far instead of trying to just nudge the line a little bit.
What do you mean exactly? What would be the alternative?
I'm honestly not sure. I don't know what the answer would be, but I feel like compelling a company to become a distributor of components and stuff that they haven't been in the past seems like a step farther than they maybe would have been compelled to do. I don't know. I just feel like they would have tried to fight that. Not that I have a better solution in mind.
Well, they have been fighting right to repair up until this point.
Yeah, for the most part. They've never really been pro repair on anything.
Anyway. So that's it. That's the news for this week, this fortnight.
That's the only big thing that happened.
That's it. The other articles I put in there were, one is tongue-in-cheek, one is just like a tiny feature that I forgot about. I guess the next one is more or less news. There might not be too much to talk about. Mm-hmm. But this is a report, I think it was via Ming-Chi Kuo in this case, that Apple's computerized glasses, this is the article's headline, not mine, will be as powerful as a Mac and launch next year. Top analyst says.
I mean, yeah, I think we touched on this last week, that there's a high probability of us seeing some kind of augmented or virtual reality product from Apple in the next year or so. As far as powerful as a Mac, yeah, I guess an iPhone is as powerful as a Mac. So you just take that same small chip and put it in anything, and yeah, it's as powerful as a Mac.
The gut reaction when you read that is, it's somehow they've managed to shrink all that power from this monster Mac computer into the size of a VR headset. But then, of course, all that power is already in the phone, and the phone is basically the size of a VR headset already. So, yeah,
right.
It's kind of news in quotes. You could have guessed this because, of course, they're going to need a powerful chip in the thing. They're not going to go and put all those A9s that they've got left over in it. They're going to need something monster, and that's probably going to be an M1, M2 class chip. And there are no issues with battery life because I mean, there'll be issues with battery life because they'll need a lot of power to run it, but that power's already in a phone with a battery. Apple's world class with power usage in their chips.
Yeah, I think the most misleading part of this is when they say computerized glasses. Everything we've heard in the last couple years is that what we're expecting to see this first time around is more of just a virtual reality headset, like maybe more of, I'd call them more goggles than glasses. Glasses to me imply some kind of like see-through or augmented reality, and I don't think that's going to be what we see on their first go. I think we're still a few years out from that.
Nearly every article fails to distinguish between AR and VR, or even combines them, like AR/VR headset.
Right, and they're very different.
Yeah, one doesn't become another. Unless the VR headset is, you know those sunglasses from the 90s where you got like typical reading glasses and then you flip up or flip down the tinted part?
Right.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. So you're going to have your VR headset and then you tilt up the screen so it's like pointing out from your head at 90 degrees. And that's your AR headset. Yeah, this is what I'm picturing.
I mean, you can kind of force a fake AR by like putting a camera on the front of the VR headset and doing pass-through video that they can overlay stuff on top of. But that is very clunky.
That's a dystopian future when everyone's walking around with those on their heads. You can't even see people's eyes anymore.
Yeah, VR is something more that you do stationary at home. You know, it's not, you wouldn't take your VR headset with you on the go somewhere. Where AR is maybe something that you wear all day. So that's the future I'm looking forward to. But I'll definitely buy their first VR headset too. So,
you know, there are some trains in Perth where the seats run down the side of the train, so everyone is facing into the middle. I think it's to give the trains more standing space. But of course, when these trains were introduced, it was just so totally awkward because you're just staring at the person across from you the whole trip. This is where VR headsets really have a selling proposition. Because
no.
Not only do you not have to look at the person, you don't even have to turn your head down like you do when you're using your phone or pretend to stare out the window, but like way up high so you don't accidentally catch someone's gaze. You can just wear the VR headset. So that's what I'm picturing. Everyone on the train with these massive headsets and no worries about staring into the middle.
And are they all throwing up from motion sickness between the movement of the train not matching up with whatever's going on in VR?
Is that a thing? I didn't know that was a thing.
It sounds disorienting just thinking about it. Like exploring some virtual landscape in VR while also like navigating turns and stuff on a train.
Yeah, accelerating out of a station.
It's bad enough just to try to read something in a moving vehicle.
All right.
Unless they had some kind of VR experience that it matched up with the train. So it's like you had some kind of like scenic view that you were riding through.
Maybe you just get the view out of the train's window without someone in the opposite seat.
There you go.
It only costs you $5,000 to get there per person.
What they need to do is take their same layout they have on these trains now and flip the seats around so you're just facing out the windows instead of towards each other.
Yeah, I suppose that could work.
Be more scenic that way.
It would, wouldn't it? Why didn't they think of that? Oh, you know what? It's probably an accessibility thing because I don't think you'd get a wheelchair down. If you get like half the size, you'd effectively be halving the size of each walkway. Yeah.
Right.
Accessibility nightmare, unfortunately. Both our ideas shot down immediately.
I'm wondering how this plays into, assuming what we do see is a VR headset next year. Facebook's recently rebranded as Meta with the idea that they're really going hard trying to sell this metaverse concept of everyone's going to do everything in VR and Facebook is going to be the company that makes it happen. Mm-hmm. And I don't see that being a trend that catches on at all, especially sponsored by a company like Facebook. But Apple could really usher in some kind of metaverse landscape, whatever that ends up being. And I think the main reason I feel that way is because Apple doesn't generally launch a product unless they have some kind of killer app or reason for it to exist in the first place. And outside of the gaming context, I've never seen a good reason for just like everyone to have a VR headset. And I think Apple must have some vision in mind of how that's going to look for just the everyday use case. And that's what I'm excited to see the most.
Maybe they're just thinking, all we need is an app store and this is going to go bonkers.
Ugh.
Like they did with
that's how they sold the TV.
the TV, the watch in some respects, or maybe originally, but not so much now. iMessage.
Yeah, the watch has definitely gone through a few iterations. It's at first they're like, oh, this is going to be a fashion accessory. And then they're like, we're going to give it apps and everyone's going to love it. And they decide, like, no, this is just like a personal health device. And that seems to be what's really caught on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully they've maybe, well, now I'm less optimistic. Hopefully they've nailed something down for VR and they're not just releasing it because they feel like they have to at this point.
Well, they actually have a huge advantage over everyone already. And it's just a matter of implementing it. And it's called Apple Silicon.
Right. Yeah, they definitely got the power to make whatever they're envisioning come to life and work efficiently. They just need to come up with a good application for it.
I wonder if they don't even need to. If they've got the processing power and the battery life already, they've already got the best device out there, potentially.
And you're just saying, leave it all to developers to come up with the killer app for it?
That's it. Yeah, I suppose I am.
I'm worried that everyone's going to come back to gaming. And Apple is not a gaming company.
Aren't they? Like, how much of App Store revenue comes from gaming? It's a massive chunk of it.
Yeah. I mean, when we speak literally, Apple's the biggest gaming company in the world. They make more money than Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo combined on their App Store game sales. So in that way, in a very real aspect, they are a gaming company. But they've never put extra effort into anything outside of mobile gaming, at least not anytime recently.
That's it. They're not a desktop gaming company. They're very much a mobile gaming company.
Right. Even though, like, the groundwork is all there. They've got the powerful computers. They just haven't courted the right gaming studios, haven't, shown any interest in that really like AAA gaming space that's bigger, more immersive stuff that's not just iPhone games.
Yeah, and yet they're still just raking in the cash from these little pay-as-you-go type games.
Right. They're still sour from losing Halo, and now they'll never do gaming again.
I just had an idea, because this headset, the VR headset, this is not going to run Mac OS, of course. It's going to run the same OS that's on the phones and the iPads. Or how about this for a name? iOS. EYEOS.
That's pretty good.
Because they've got Max, and M1 Max. So you can have iOS and iOS. And maybe iOS apps can run on the iOS headset.
And then they rebrand lowercase I OS to iPhone OS.
That's it.
I mean, it might as well be iPhone OS at this point, because iPads don't run it anymore. And I guess the iPod Touch still exists, but how much longer is that going to exist?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not next year when they drop iPhone SE support. They're not going to keep the one small screen size. They either got to make the iPod Touch bigger or drop support for it, discontinue it. So you solved the case, James.
I think I have. I should go and buy some trademarks, file some trademarks, whatever you do with trademarks to get them.
If I go to iOS.com, what do we get? Oh, it's a website already. High performance HTML5 virtualization.
Okay.
iOS is trademarked. Not going to happen. Well, actually, that doesn't stop Apple. iPhone was trademarked and they still released it. So, it's at a company in Spain. They don't respect trademarks in Spain.
Specifically Spain as well. You know what they're
Right.
like, the Spanish. There was just one little other part of this report. I think we've already talked about it before, but previous reports said that the glasses would need to be connected to your iPhone to work. But part of this little report from Quo to his customers, I suppose, is that the headset won't require the connection to the iPhone. You think it would be Wi-Fi connected. Actually, that's another part of this as well, is that it's going to have Wi-Fi 6E, which we've only got 6 in the current iPhones. So this would have the next generation of Wi-Fi. Yeah, you think
6E is like a lower power one, right?
It might be, but it's also a faster, lower latency one. I'm not sure if the power is a factor.
I mean, that makes sense when if you've got a full A series or M series chip, or they're probably gonna give it a new prefix for the VR headset, but something along those lines. It makes sense that it would, by all means, be capable of running stuff independently. I think the question early on, a year or two ago, was if it was going to have any kind of processing power on its own, or if it was going to be more of like a wireless display and the iPhone was going to handle it all. But it seems at this point that there's no reason it can't do all of that itself.
Yeah, when you're at the point of running like 2 really high-res screens in a device, it just sounds bonkers that the processing would be done somewhere else, probably wirelessly. That amount of, to compute somewhere else and then send it over a cord or the air, or just, it doesn't sound good.
You'd need some very low latency wireless connectivity, but we've kind of seen what that looks like on the early versions of the Apple Watch, where all the apps are running on the iPhones.
There are still some apps that never got updated and rely on the connection to the iPhone, and they are just awful.
Yeah, unusable.
Totally. You know what else is unusable on the watch? The mindfulness app. Have you tried that?
That's just like what the Breathe app got renamed to, right?
That's right. But they also added Fitness Plus to it, so that you can start a mindfulness thing from a Fitness Plus mindfulness workout, I suppose, in quotes, from the Apple
meditation.
Watch. Yeah.
I haven't tried that. It's not good?
Well, it never even got to the point where I could use it. I'd be interested to hear if you could get it to go, though. I mean, a Series 3 is a slower watch, but when you're waiting like a couple of minutes at a spinner, you know it's not the processing power that's holding you back here.
Right. So I can tap into it here. I have a reflection option. It says it offers a minute-long session with a simple reflection you can think about and carry with you.
At the top, I've got an option that says Fitness Plus. Do you not have that?
Well, I had that initially when I opened the app.
And now it's gone? I had that too at some point. Yeah. It'll come back. Don't worry.
Let me close it and reopen it.
In its own time.
Audio meditation. Okay, I tap it. Oh, spinning wheel. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I've got a bunch of audio meditations here. Gratitude with Christian Howard. Wisdom with Christian Howard. Awareness with Joanne Hardy. Did you even get that far of having the library to pick from?
No. I'm going to give it another crack now, though. All right, I've gone into it. And again, there's no... Oh, wait, Fitness Plus. It just appeared. Oh, look at that. No, I didn't even get a spinner that time. Huh. Maybe it had to do some sort of loading, which was prompted by me going into it the first time, and now the stuff is there. Like, this was days ago that I tried it, so... Okay, cool. Happy days.
It knew you were recording. It wanted to behave.
That's the way it goes. Anytime you call tech support, whatever the problem is, should disappear on its own. Speaking of newish sort of features in the whole ecosystem, there was a built-in two-factor authentication feature added to iOS 15 and macOS Monterey, and I totally missed it. Totally forgot it was there. But since we last spoke, I have added a couple of things because I have been burned in the past, as has Cactus Boy Scout in his self-post to the Apple subreddit, by different authenticators, and sometimes you restore from a backup, and then even though you thought you had your authenticator backed up, you can't get the codes back, and that sort of nightmare. So if there's one thing I like doing, it's using Apple services when they're available. And I found it a little bit tricky. I had to actually Google how to use it. I didn't find it all that straightforward, but once I found that it's in, actually I can't even remember where it is on the iOS, but at least on the Mac it's in Safari, and then preferences, passwords. But you can add your two-factor authentication codes in there, and it will autofill when you're trying to log into a site, which just makes life so much better.
See, I don't actually use a two-factor authenticator app for anything except work stuff, and with that, I'm trapped with Microsoft. So I haven't
that's right.
had the opportunity to migrate anything. But maybe I should switch over to Authenticator app, especially now that it's built in, instead of relying on text messages for everything.
Mm-hmm.
I have been meaning to, well, first of all, give the iCloud keychain on Windows another try and see how good that is now, because I know they've updated that recently.
They have, yeah.
And if it's any good, then I'm thinking about moving off of 1Password entirely. Because the only reason I keep it around is to keep my passwords in sync between my Mac and PCs. And I have, for years and years, had to maintain both my 1Password and my iCloud keychain on everything.
Gross.
Yeah, because for the most part, I really like having iCloud keychain autofill everything. So I've always kept that up to date, and then also had to manually go in and update 1Password every time so that I could log in if I was on my PC. So if I can get off of that, and iCloud keychain is good enough, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, definitely have a look at it.
Yeah.
Stainless Steel Gyoza in the comments says you can actually ask Siri for the two-factor codes as well. I haven't tried that to see if it works.
Oh, cool.
But that's a nice addition as well.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a shot.
Wired earpods are making a comeback. So apparently they're already retro enough to be cool. And I'm fully on board with this. I've jumped back 5 years to the world of wired headphones. Mm-hmm. It's not terrible. It really isn't as terrible as you think it is. There's definitely the nightmare of cables getting tangled.
Right.
But just being able to take your headphones and plug them into anything, really. Don't even have to be paired to the device. Like, I can pick up Yasmin's phone and plug in and away you go. And also I can look like iPod advertisements from the 2000s. Especially when I'm dressed all in black and dancing.
On a multicolor background?
Well, yeah, I live on a multicolored background.
Yeah,
so apparently it's cool again. Go on, what are your thoughts?
I have not seen this sentiment that's being expressed in this 9 to 5 Mac opinion piece about, apparently, at least it's claiming here, that Gen Z is going back to wired headphones. I have not seen anyone using wired headphones anywhere. But I guess wireless has become too mainstream now.
That's it. That's the entire gist of this. It's not cool to be mainstream.
Nope.
But also there's this underlying thing that wired is always going to be a better quality than wireless, I suppose. So that kind of makes it cool. You know, it just has warmer tones when you're wired. It's not as digital.
Yeah, it's like those people who still only listen to record players. They say it's got the nicest, warmest sound or whatever.
That's exactly who I was making fun of.
That's okay. I'm okay with still just staying bleeding edge and using wireless, and I don't need retro tech in my daily life like that.
Really, I just put this in there because I wanted to feel better about not having wireless headphones, but
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have the wrong shaped ears. You're just a hipster or whatever.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Tapbacks appear in Android. It's on the latest versions of Android, which most Android users will get in 2023. They will be able to see tapbacks properly now. So that's when you send back like a heart or whatever to someone who's sent you an SMS on Android, and then goes back to them as James liked insert message here. But now it'll just appear as it should, I suppose. Well, not should, because I don't think there's any requirement for this to be implemented, but it appears in line or nicely.
Yeah, that'll be much nicer.
Yeah. The only problem is, as I joked a second ago, you're not going to know if you send a tap back how it's going to appear for the Android user, because they could be running an OS from years ago, and they may never be getting this update until they get a new phone, and you don't know how old their phone is or their operating system. So I think we can confidently use this feature or expect the tapbacks to work correctly in like 3 years.
And hopefully iPhones themselves do something similar, because if I'm in a group chat with like 3 iPhone users and 1 Android user, if you use a tapback, I still even see it in the group text on my phone that shows up as so-and-so liked whatever message.
So if you send a tapback and like a message, then you get the actual text message confirming that you liked it?
If I send a tapback, I think it shows up right on my phone, but if someone else in the group chat taps back on something, then it shows up as text for me.
Mm-hmm. Even if they're on iPhone. I suppose it's not an iMessage group then in that case if one person's on Android, right?
Right. So, yeah, Apple needs to get on board now. Do the same thing.
Right. So that's not a problem. That's not something that would have to be changed on Android. It would have to be changed on iOS as well.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. I suppose this is why people like Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp and all that. It has been a long, long time since I was in any group chat that was SMS based. I would confidently say 10 years.
That's one of the benefits of not being in the US, I guess. It's still very common here.
Amazing. I don't even find iMessage group chats all that reliable, really.
Oh, really?
No, I've never had great experiences with iMessage group chat.
Like you're losing messages or what?
Yeah, totally. Like I could be standing next to Yasmin and are in a group chat with my parents. I could send a message and she just never receives it on her phone, and then someone will respond to her, like my mum, and then we both get the response. It definitely, even up until this year, I've seen that behaviour.
That is not something that I've experienced at all that I can remember.
Huh, yeah. Yeah, definitely in the early days of iMessage, it was a thing, and I thought, surely this will be fixed in like iOS 6.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are, iOS 15, and seeing it to this day.
Weird.
Yeah, it's not just one
Maybe
person.
I just don't even know that I'm missing messages.
Yeah. You're bound to notice though, like if you're in a group chat and you get a response to something that you never received the question for, that's when you notice it.
Maybe you guys just have inferior iMessage servers over there.
Sure. We'll put it down to that.
The real solution to this problem, or at least what I would love to see Apple do at some point, is adopt RCS, like Android has done the last couple of years. But I don't know that they have any motivation to do that since they've got iMessage.
Yeah, I don't really know the ins and outs of RCS. But would implementing it be competition for iMessage in that case? Because like if you're sending iMessage to iMessage, it's not replacing that. So
right. I mean, I don't think that it's competition in that way, but it's just it makes messaging with Androids nicer, and Apple does not seem to want to facilitate that.
Okay.
Because I'm still waiting on iMessage for Android.
Well, we know, wasn't it from the Epic case where we saw the emails about them discussing that and deciding that breaking up or interfering with the iPhone families was detrimental to their business?
Right. But that was a few years ago. They might have changed their tone on that at some point.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, that's not new news. Everyone, has been saying that for years, that it only serves Apple to make messaging anyone else worse.
Yeah. So RCS is implemented on Android already.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was a question. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So if Android to Android messages happen, they happen over RCS?
I think if you've got the newest versions of Android, it will, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay. I'm James VDM on Reddit and on Twitter.
And I'm Jellywoot on Reddit and Twitter.
And you can find the show notes at reddit.com/r/the/Apple show.
All right. And now we're going to have a bit of a longer break than normal.
That is true. Not catching up until
The middle of December, right?
your 18th, my 19th of December. Another Sunday morning, Saturday night event for us.
Probably pretty good timing considering the news drought we're going to be in until the end of the year anyway.
Yeah, give time for something to bubble up. Maybe some new rumors about iPhone 14. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, so that'll be 99. Yeah, wow. Incredible.
With 100 ready for the start of next year.
Yep. And plenty of time to think about how we can make it a big event.
Yeah, I still need to put some thought into that. I don't have any ideas at all.
I'm just waiting for the idea to hit me, but as yet, it hasn't.